Welcome replay viewers. Aha! Welcome everybody. Oh my goodness. So good to see all of you. I see Julie. I see Angela. Hello. Nice to see you. Let's see. I'm giving you a shot of my kids here who are coloring. Claire, can you say hi? Hello. Oh my goodness. So good to see so many of you. Oh, yes, me too. I'm glad you got to come live as well. Yeah, throw your name up in the chat or comments, whatever they call it here, so I can see who you are. Oh, good to see you, Mackenzie. Yes. Okay, so are you brand new to Periscope? Because I am pretty darn new. I did a Periscope, I think it was last week, and I think I made every mistake in the book, and so I may make them again. But if you're brand new to Periscope, you can leave me a note down in the bottom and I can see it. Hello, Carissa. And yep, hi, Pam. Terry, welcome. Yeah, so, okay, so if you're brand new to Periscope, those hearts that are coming up the side of the screen, that's love. You can always send love by tapping your screen. And then you can swipe, I can't ever remember which way, left, right, something like that, to share it with your, I think it shares it with Twitter. I'm not Periscope savvy enough to know for sure. Hey, Jessica. And Veronica, Alyssa, oh, so good to see so many of you. Hey, Tarina, good to see you. Okay, so today I'm going to give you a peek into my systems. I almost feel like it's silly to call it a system for planning because, well, you'll see. Because I don't really do anything terribly systematically, but I do kind of set up a system for the beginning of our school year. And lately, every time I would put up a picture on Instagram or Facebook or my blog or something about with the picture of our clipboards or our notebooks, people would ask me, let me see, give me a closer look or tell me how you use that. So I thought, okay, I think it would be better to do this as a Periscope than trying to write a blog post about it. So, oh yes, Inky Fairy Design. Oh my goodness, you told me your name last time too, and I cannot remember your name. Do you want to remind me? So yeah, I put up a post last January about how we use spiral notebooks in our homeschool, and I got a zillion requests in the comments there for to show you how I use my master list. I'll do that here as well. Not today though, because here's what we're gonna do today. I was trying to think about how I could show you pretty simply and basically how I plan, and it looks a little bit overwhelming if I throw it all at you at once, but it's really simple because I have to do simple. If I don't have simple, it doesn't work for me at all. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to give you like a big picture overview of how I plan and how we set up our school year, and then how I kind of set up our tools to get us all set and squared away. And then we'll do this series of Periscopes hopefully over the next few days. I'm not going to promise you any times ahead of time because, oh my goodness, those of you who Periscope at the same time every day are rock stars. I don't know how you do it. But over the next week or two, we'll finish out this series, and every time I will add another little bit on and just show you in these short little Periscopes how I plan and what my systems are. So today we're going to chat about, first of all, get a big picture view about the overview of my day. So I think in order for me to show you how I plan, I have to kind of give you a rundown of how we do things in our homeschool. We shape our day, our overview of our day is pretty basic. I try to schedule our day in these big chunk blocks so that I can think in my head instead of like having to keep track of 10 or 15 or 20 different parts of our school day. I can have these big time chunks that I'm thinking about. So when I think about a normal average school day, we have morning time first. After breakfast, we've got morning time. I think of it in these blocks. Morning time, and then a morning rotation, and I'll tell you about that later. Lunch and recess, which is what's happening right now. That's why half my kids are here on the table, and the other half are taking naps. And then the afternoons are what we call spiral notebook time, and I'll give you more details on what that's like. And that's the bulk of our school day. And then we have, you know, family dinner and baths. And we actually this year are doing our math at night after the babies, all the toddlers are in bed. So kind of crazy. Okay, so it looks like we've got a full house or a lot of people here. So let me give you a quick introduction if you don't know who I am. I'm Sarah Mackenzie. I am the author of Teaching from Rest, a homeschooler's guide to unshakable peace. I'm the creator of the Read-Aloud Revival, and I'm mom at a 6, which is going to be helpful to know what age my kids are when I'm talking about planning. So my oldest is, do you want to say hi? Okay. My oldest is an 8th grader, Audrey.
Hi.
And then I've got a 6th grader. That's her. I've got a 5th grade boy. Hey, I've got a 5th grade boy. He's off reading Harry Potter at the moment. And then a 3-year-old and twin 2-year-olds. So half my kids are doing homeschool, and the other half we're trying to keep tame so that we can homeschool the rest of the day. So that might be helpful as you're, finding out about how I structure our day and how we plan. That's what I'm working with there. So the main parts of my day, just to recap that, are breakfast and morning time, a morning rotation, lunch and recess, spiral notebook time. We do math in the evenings. And then just keep in mind that I am really super extroverted. And this is something that I have come to peace with. Oh my goodness, somebody said, do you look this cute to teach every day? No. I went and put on extra makeup and lip gloss for you, so there you go. But thank you, that's very sweet. Okay, so I'm getting distracted. Okay, so I have realized the last couple of years that I really thrive when I either have friends here, like co-op friends coming to our house and we're doing communal learning here, or going to a co-op. So this year we have 2.5 days, about 2 to 2.5 days a week of co-op learning, whether that's going to co-ops or having our co-op friends come to our house. And I totally know that's not everybody's deal, but oh yeah, I totally forgot to title my Periscope. Again, thank you for that reminder down there. I told you I will make every Periscope blunder in the book a few times, apparently. So anyway, for me, it's really, really important to have that time with friends and to have that kind of community learning. And so I have structured our homeschool this year, making that a priority. So keep that in mind as well. We kind of fit it in where it works, and you'll kind of see that as I kind of guide you through how I plan this. So here's the deal. How I'm thinking this is going to work is I don't want to overwhelm you with like a million different little tidbits in one single video. So we're going to break this up into a series, and today I'm going to show you my tools that I use for planning. I gave you a little picture of my overall schedule already, but I'll recap that for you. And I'm going to show you my big whiteboard, which is the one that's on the we're in the dining room right now, and it's hanging on our dining room wall. And I'll show you that in a second. And then in the next part of this series, I'm going to give you a quick peek into our morning time and show you what that looks like. Super short. Our morning times are about 20-25 minutes max. Then I'll show you morning rotations. And what morning rotations are is basically one-on-one mama tutoring time. And how that works is, you know, you really need to do some one-on-one with each of your kids. Not in every subject, but usually for at least 1 or 2. This year, our one-on-one time is mostly language arts for each of my kids, regardless of their ages. And so what we do in our morning rotation time, and I'll give you more details on this later, but like I said, we have 3 toddlers. So one big kid hangs out with the twins, one big kid hangs out with the 3-year-old, does like preschool-y kind of fun stuff, and the other big kid hangs out with me for about 30 to 40 minutes, depending on their age and what we're doing that day. And that's where we tackle a lot of our language arts. So that's our mama rotation. That takes most of the morning to get everybody through that. Like stations, you know, one child will be with me, another one with the twins, another one with the 3-year-old, and then we just all rotate until everybody's got time with me each day, which is great. So I'll give you more details on that in the 3rd video. And then the 4th video, I'm going to give you the nitty-gritty on those spiral notebooks. The master spiral notebook list that I use to make it super easy for me to fill those suckers out every day. So I'll show you my list, and I'll show you how I created what needs to be on that spiral notebook master list for me to feel good about how things are going. And that's the fourth one. And the last one, I'll show you kind of my big syllabus. This sounds so formal. My big list and how I keep track of whether or not we're on track for what I had hoped for our school year, and how I decide if something's not working, it needs to be ditched, and how often I do that. So I hope that will work. I hope that sounds good for you. If you have questions along the way, pop them in there, and I will make sure that I am keeping an eye on that so I can answer those as we go through the series. So for today, tools. I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of what I've got. So I have my like mama teacher binder. That's this, it's so pretty, right? I had to get a pretty one. And in my mama teacher binder, I have a place where I keep, I'll show you this up and close as we're going through the series for each different spot, but I can show you now that I have like a planning section. Oops, I don't know if you can see that. A morning time section, a section for our family work or things that we're doing all together. Each of my kids has a section, and then each of our co-ops, because we're in 2 co-ops. I told you I'm an extrovert. So both of our co-ops, so I have a section for each of those. This is kind of my grand central station. This and my iPhone, because I do some things digitally, but for the most part for school, I keep it in the notebook. And I keep that always, always, always on the kitchen counter. There's a basket. I didn't clean it, so I'm gonna make sure it's not too cluttered before I show you. There we go. Oh yeah, Audrey's pointing to it there. There's a basket up there. That thing lives there. My laptop lives there. And my mama notebook lives there, and a few other things that I'll tell you about as we're going along. So that basket always stays there, and my mama notebook does not leave this area, because if it did, I would never find it again, and then I would not know what to do. So that's the first thing, my notebook. Each of my kids has a notebook. Actually, I have a few notebooks, but the notebook that we use most days, I will show you tomorrow or in the next Periscope, because that is where what they pull out for morning time, because we keep all their morning time materials, and I'll show you what those look like. Super simple. It's so much more like simple than you're imagining, I am sure. But I'll show you what those look like. They pull out their notebooks every day for morning time. They each have a spiral notebook, like I wrote about in the post, and that is that if you haven't read it yet, it's at amongstlovelythings.com/spiral-notebooks, or you can just go to amongstlovelythings.com and look on the right, or yeah, on the right hand side there's a link to it. It's the most highly trafficked post on my blog, so you should be able to find it pretty quick. And that's these that I was talking about, these super simple 10-cent spiral notebooks where I write the kids activity, sorry, my brain failed there, every single day, and I'll give you a rundown on what those look like. So they each have one of those. And then my kids also have, this is new for us this year because we are doing 2 co-ops, and it can be really, really overwhelming or tricky to keep track of all the assignments, especially because at one of our co-ops, the teachers all email, in each different class, they email us the assignments. In the other co-op, one of my very best friends runs it, and so she has a syllabus. Sometimes we're texting back and forth and that kind of thing. So what I did is I created these homework boards, and I'll show these to you too when we're doing the spiral notebooks, because this goes hand in hand. But basically each kid has a clipboard and this homework sheet that I print out each week. And on Sunday during my planning time, I sit down and I write out all of their assignments for all of their co-op classes. That way when I'm writing down their individual work on their spiral notebooks for each day, which I'll go over later, I know what they have due at co-op and what they have due for me for writing or math or whatever. So it kind of keeps everything streamlined and keeps me from having to remember things in my head, which would be really bad. And then, so teacher binder, kid binders, spiral notebook, and homework board. That's pretty much it. And I will walk you through all of those. But the other big thing we have is our whiteboard. So I'm going to try and walk you over here without making you too dizzy. So this is our our whiteboard in our dining room. Okay, so I really wanted a whiteboard in our dining room, but I did not want it to be like an ugly one, because this is our dining room. We're in here all the time. So my husband got shower board, that's what this is, from Home Depot, and like, I don't know how well you can see this, but pretty border, and he built this for me and put it on the wall. I think he said it cost less than $40. I'll have to ask him. I think it was less than 40 bucks. And it's huge, as you can see. There's the twin high chairs. And so what we do with our whiteboard is on the left side of it, we keep track of the day. So every day I write the date, name and date, and then I write what we have going on that day. In our morning usually says see schedule, because our mornings are almost always the same. And I've got our average morning schedule hung up over here on the counter, or I mean on the wall. And then on the afternoons, things change. Like today, I have a babysitter coming this afternoon, and I also have our math tutor. We have a math tutor now. I'm so excited. He's coming this afternoon. And then the kids also need to know what if they have, like, you know, tennis or soccer or swimming lessons or whatever. And so this afternoon I have, you know, just do spiral notebook work and work with Dominic, who's our math tutor. So if we have co-op, instead of putting see the schedule for the morning, I'll say sorry, I'm making you all seasick. There we go. I'll sit myself down. I will put, you know, we need to leave for co-op by 9 o'clock or something like that. Or I'll say, I'll have their list. Pack your backpack, check your lunch, whatever. And then be ready to go by 9:15, something like that. And so every evening, sometimes in the morning if I'm late, I will write down the day on the left hand of the whiteboard. Oh, and I didn't show you the right side. Right side. Sorry, I'm gonna make you sick again. On the right side, I have our memory work, and our co-op when our co-op meets at our house, which is once a week, they use this. So we'll like clear it off and use it for other things. But we right now are memorizing the Sermon on the Mount. We're starting right at the beginning, just seeing how far we can get. So I have our current whatever we haven't quite finished memorizing. But we're working on, that goes on the board so we can like look at it constantly when we're sitting here working at the table, reciting it at morning time, which I'll explain in the next video, or when people are just walking by. It's helpful to have it up on the board. Okay, so those are my tools. Binder, kids binders, spiral notebook, homework board, whiteboard. That's it. Really for homeschool planning, except for like when I make our overall plan for the year, which I'll show you later as well, I print those out and put them in my binder. So I don't do a whole lot of planning or keeping track of things digitally, even though I do a lot of other, like organizing my own brain, scary, digitally. I don't do a whole lot of that in our homeschool. I just think it's easier to have it like right in front of my face, and where my kids can see it too if it's printed out. It's super helpful. So the other thing I wanted to make sure I hit today is how much time I spent on planning. Not very much compared to other people. I spent a little bit of time, of course, in August, like figuring out our year. And then as the year progresses, I spend 15 minutes a night writing out their spiral notebook assignments. And I will show you why it's fast. I've heard so many people say, hey, I love the spiral notebook idea, but it takes me forever to write those out. Well, there are some really quick hacks you can use to get those made really fast. So I'll show you those when we cover the spiral notebooks in a later video. And so 15 minutes a day. And then on Sundays, I spend 30 minutes to an hour. And that's because I am going through my 5,000 emails where the kids' co-op assignments are and filling out their homework boards. And kind of doing a big picture. I'll look at my big picture year syllabus and kind of, where do we need to stick things in? And so I'd say on Sundays, I try to keep it to 30 minutes because I'm a happier mom if I'm not spending all that much time doing it. But sometimes it takes an hour. And that's it, 15 minutes a night. And for the most part, that's all the time I take on planning. I used to spend a lot more time on planning and a lot less time doing. It's a really easy thing to fall in the habit of, I think. So now I try to flip that on its head if I can. Okay, I think that's all I wanted to cover because I was trying not to overwhelm you. I told Audrey I was going to, how long has it been? I told her I was going to try to hit 10 or 15 minutes so I didn't like, you know, lambast you. The last Periscope I said 10 minutes and it was like 30 or something. So anyway, if you have questions, totally throw them up there. Oh, one more thing I wanted to show you before I go. Okay, it's weird. My phone just rang. It's my husband, but I'll call him back. I'm not sure what happens on Periscope when my phone rings. Okay, so anyway, there was something I've been working on for you, and it's almost ready. It's a gift I've got for you because, okay, this last year as I was going to all these homeschool conferences and talking to moms all over the country, the question, well, I was speaking with Dr. Perrin from Classical Academic Press, and one of the things we would talk about all the time was, you know, if you want to come sit with me? You can. Was if you want to simplify your day and you want to be more peaceful and less frantic, you've got to pare back and just focus on the most important things. And the question that, of course, always comes up right away is, what? Does anybody have a guess? You want to throw it in the chat or in the comments? What question do you think we'd get the most, absolutely the most, after we'd ask that or tell people that they need to pare back as much as possible? I don't see any comments actually, so now I wonder if I messed something up when I answered my phone. Oh, there we go. What do we focus on? Yes, how do you do that? Exactly, yes, what do we cut? Because then you go, great, I'm totally gonna cut, right? And then you open up your schedule and you're like, except that it's all important. Yes, I see that. What is essential? What do you let go? What do I give up? Exactly. So I started to think that wasn't very helpful of us to be telling people to cut back unless we could actually tell them. But the hard part about that is I have not been called to homeschool your children. You have, and so you have to make that decision yourself. So what I thought I would do is ask all of our favorite homeschooling gurus and experts what their best advice was. If I'm an overwhelmed homeschooling mom and I am wondering how on earth am I supposed to pare back, what's the best tip you can give me? So I did. I asked them. These are the guys I asked. Actually, I asked a few more than this, so we might be adding to this as we go. But Susan Wise-Bauer, Andrew Kern, Andrew Pudawa, Rhea Berg, Lila Lawler, Cindy Rollins, Janice Campbell, Julie Bogart, and Sonia Schaefer. They all gave me their best tip, and I've been putting, what's that? I've been putting them into a collection, a little guide for you that you'll be able to print out and keep in your own teacher notebook. So when you're thinking, I am crazy, I think I need to quit, no, you don't. So I'm going to read you one of these just to give you a little taste. Okay, how many of you know Lila Lawler? Let me know in the comments if you know Lila Lawler. She is a favorite of mine. She's probably a little lesser known than others like Susan Wise-Bauer, but she's awesome. This is what she writes. Close your eyes for a moment and think. Ma and Pa educated their children in a covered wagon. They made it through the long winter. The children only went to school when they weren't needed on the farm. They had a Bible, a fiddle, and Shakespeare. I can do this. Isn't that great? So that one's a little bit more like theoretical, but then we've got something from, hey, Julie Bogart, I think you're here, right? I'm going to read Julie's because hers is awesome. She says, stop talking, start doing. Instead of assigning pages or problems, begin. Do them yourself in front of your child without saying a word. See who joins you. Participate in any new learning experience first without lecture or preamble in front of your children. Create the conditions of partnership and learning and watch your children become curious to learn. So what you're going to get in this little guide is their best tip. Andrew actually listed out his subjects that he would prioritize in the order he would prioritize it. So did Susan Wise-Bauer. So anyways, good stuff. And this is going to be ready for you, I hope, tomorrow. In the next Periscope, I'll let you know where you can grab it for free. It's almost ready for you. I can't wait to send it your way. So, okay. Somebody said your daughter is getting more hearts than you. I know. Say hi. It's because she's so cute. Say hello. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining me for this Periscope, and I will be back hopefully in the next day or two with the next one in the series all about my morning time. Take care.